Shimla Agreement. Shimla Agreement. Shimla is considered as a town in Himachal Pradesh, and it happened to be capital of Himachal Pradesh right now. Shimla was mere a town in Punjab state of British India. Okay, so Punjab was a state in British India. I believe, I don't know, that either Lahore or Delhi was the capital of Punjab. I don't know, really don't know. But Punjab used to be a very big state in British India. Okay, their towns were Lahore, Delhi, Shimla. So Shimla is a town that is historically known for very historical agreement. There are three historical agreements that has happened in Shimla. Okay, and they are the historical agreement happened in Shimla, and they are 1914 Shimla Agreement, 1914 Shimla Agreement, 1945 Shimla Agreement, 1972 Shimla Agreement. There are three Shimla Agreement. Agreement happened in Shimla in 3 years. We will discuss 1942. I'm sorry, 1914 Shimla Agreement. Later we'll discuss about 1945 Shimla Agreement and a very, very historical 1972 Shimla Agreement that happened between India and Pakistan over the bifurcation of Pakistan as a new country as Bangladesh. Benazir Bhutto and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, they were present in the Simla Agreement. I believe Srimati Indira Gandhi, she was also there in Simla Agreement, and she was the pioneer mastermind in bifurcating Pakistan into two countries, making Pakistan a weak country. So she was kind of adored with the Bharat Ratna because of her this Herculean task. Srimati Indira Gandhi, Honorable Prime Minister of India at that time, one of the most prestigious Prime Minister of India. Any. Now, if we talk about 1940 first Simla Agreement that happened between Tibet, China, and British India. Tibet was an independent country till 1914. There was a king dynasty in China that ruled around 1720 up till 1911, means around 200 years. King dynasty, they ruled China. Under King dynasty, China, China was part of King dynasty. But otherwise, King dynasty has indirect rule, not direct control over. Means King dynasty military. In part, they were available in other areas also, but they had their own government. Manchuria, Qinghai province, Mongolia, Xinjiang, that is Kashi province, and Tibet province. Tibet, Qinghai, Kashi, King, Tibet, Qinghai, Kashi, Mongolia, and Manchuria. These were indirectly controlled by the Qing dynasty, where the China Qing dynasty belonged to China. Okay, that was the architecture that was followed. Later, that Mongolia became Inner Mongolia, that was annexed to the China, and Mongolia was different country. Manchuria, Manchuria was annexed to Russia, northern part of the Amur River or something like that, and southern part more or less than that came to China. Okay, anyway, the Qing dynasty lost control on the China in 1911. But prior to 1911, lot of episode happened in China itself. When Britain was looting India, Britishers, they were looting Indian part. They were not looting full India. Full India is Tibet, Qinghai, and then Mongolia, and then Kashi Kashgar region. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, Burma, this is full India. But India became so weak a country afterward that invaders they started looting this country. Now in that fashion, Britain started looting the southern part of Himalaya, excluding Afghanistan. Then Russia also tried to capture the rest of the India. it started pushing its army into Afghanistan because Afghan people had chased Britishers. So Afghanistan region was empty, and Russia was trying to control Afghanistan. In that fashion, Britishers they built a cantonment in kind of in Balochistan. Okay, that is the I forgot the name, the capital of Balochistan. So there they made a cantonment and they led up. They planted a railway line. Okay, so they kind of they made a railway line. They built a railway line from New Delhi to the Balochistan. Okay, so that still I'm forgetting the name. That is the capital of Balochistan. So from there they were trying to. That is very near to Chaman border of Afghanistan. From there they were trying to control the region of the Britain so that Russian army they should not enter into the Balochistan what Britain had occupied it. So they constructed railway line in Balochistan. Okay, so that is the British story. Russian forces they tried to enter Kashi region also and up till Tibet. Okay, in that fashion, Britain had fear here also that Russian forces through Kashi and then Tibet, they will enter into India because Britishers were looting this country heavily at that time. So they feared that Russia was very near. Britain is far, far, far away. So if Russian people are coming to Tibet, Lhasa, then there is a high chance that they will enter into India. So 1903 time frame, Britain tried to control Tibet. British army it entered Tibet. Okay, but that is another story. It is written in the book that they were successful in the controlling the Tibet, but that is not true. They were pushed away from the Tibet. Okay, at that time, more or less, Tibet Empire was there. Tibet had its own government. Tibet had its own king. Okay, partially, indirectly, it came under King dynasty. But Tibet was completely an independent country by 1903. It is written in the book that partially it was controlled by King dynasty. But anyway, now when British people they saw, they understood, they anticipated. Okay, when they anticipate, I'm sorry, when they anticipated that Russia would control Tibet, how they anticipated the king of Tibet or Dalai Lama of the king Tibet, he started singing in the same tone what Russia king was singing, same tone. Okay, in that fashion, Tibet tried to get aligned with the Russia on its own. It's not that Russia was trying to control Tibet by force. Tibet king was trying to get aligned with the Russia, and this became a headache on the Chinese king and the Britishers this side. They tried to control Tibet so that Russia should not enter into Tibet. In that fashion, 1906 there was a Lhasa agreement between Britain and Tibet so that they can keep Tibet as an independent country only and motivate Tibet not to get aligned with the Russia. Okay, in that fashion, by 1911, King dynasty fell in Russia. King dynasty was over. In that fashion, whatever the Chinese military was there in the Tibet for the indirect control on the Tibet, Tibetan army they kicked them out. Now Tibet they declared as a full-fledged independent country in 1911. But still fear of Russia controlling the Tibet, it was mounting. And in that fashion, 1914, there was a similar agreement between Tibet, China, and Britain to make a demarcation of a Tibet. Okay, to give power to Tibet to motivate Tibet so that it should not come under control of the Russia. And that is the mistake Britishers did heavily in 1914 similar agreement between Tibet in British India and China. They tried to give Tibet to China in 1914 itself. People they do not know that the accession of Tibet in 1959, where war started in 1951 by PRC, People Republic of China, that was a mistake from the 1914 itself. The Britishers brought China into the agreement so that more or less they tried to give control of Tibet to the China only, so that Russians should not come to the Tibet. To stop Russia entering into Tibet, Britishers they tried to give control of Tibet to China. And 1914, finally, Shimla agreement happened in July 1914 between China, Tibet, and British India, where Tibet, the China was calling Tibet in two parts. One is called Inner Tibet, one is Outer Tibet. Inner means from Chinese part. The Tibet which were along the China. Okay, I believe either it is along the Qinghai province or it is along the Yunnan province or I believe Sichuan or something is there. That side, eastern side of the Tibet, that is also, I read it out, that is also called Kham region, I believe. Kham region and Dome region or something like that. So that part, eastern side of Kham region was taken care by China. China took it and Tibet gave it because that was a low region of the Tibet. The western part of the Tibet, that higher Tibet, the Chinese call it outer Tibet, that was completely controlled by the Tibetan government, completely, as per the Tibetan agreement. China, the way always we say, China as a country, it always live in different mood. When Chinese came to the discussion, they thought that British would give Tibet to the China. This is what the intention of the Chinese when they came to Shimla for the agreement. They thought that Britishers are inviting China into the discussion with Tibet because Russian would not control the Tibet. Means they want to give Tibet to the China. This is what Chinese thought. But in the agreement, it happened that eastern part of the Tibet, that is lower Tibet, will go to the China and the bigger Tibet or external Tibet or higher Tibet, the main Tibet will remain as an independent country. And that was something that is slapped on the Chinese forces and Chinese representative to the meeting. They did not sign, they did not sign on the paper. So trilateral agreement has to happen in 1914 between British India, Tibet and China, where Chinese counterpart they did not sign on it. Only bilateral treaty happened between Britishers and Tibet. In that way, the boundary of the Tibet was demarcated and Tibetan government they had been given high power so that they can resist Russian control over Tibet. Means more or less they hypnotized Tibetan king not to go with the Russian. But China went there with a red face that it thought that it would get Tibet. Who was controlling the China? What was Tibet and what is kind of British? That we will see. Okay, so Shimla Agreement 1914. There are three Shimla Agreement 1945 and 1972. Okay, the first draft of the agreement came on 27th of April 1914 and finally signature happened on 3rd July 1914. Okay, from British side, Sir Henry McMahon, not Mohan. Okay, Sir Henry McMahon. So he took part and he was foreign secretary of the British India. He took part from the British side. From the China side, Yuan Chen, Commissioner for the Trade and Foreign Affairs at Shanghai. So he took part from the Chinese side. And from Tibet, Prime Minister of Tibet, uh, Sri Paljor Dorje Shatra. He was also known as Lonchen Shatra. So he took part in the discussion, and that discussion happened. It happened in three phases. First phase of the discussion happened in 1913 in Shimla only, 3rd October and 18th November. Two sessions happened. Then three sessions happened in Delhi. That was 12th January, 17th February, and 11th March 1914. And final again three sessions happened in Shimla. That is 7th April, 27th April, and 3rd July 1914 in Shimla. Okay, so as per the agreement, Tibet, outer Tibet, that is Tasang region. It starts with T, but it is read as Sang only. Tasang region and Western Kham region. Kham region will come to the Tibetan government, and Amdo River, that is the eastern of the Qinghai region. Amdo River and eastern Kham eastern side means means some part of the Yunnan province also. Western northwestern side of the Yunnan province, it will go to the China. Okay, so Chinese play plenipotentiary. Wow, it's a very big name. Chinese plenipotentiary, that is the name of the person, that is the given to the any representative at that time, that is called plenipotentiary means representative of some country. So plenipotentiary of the China was Mr. Ivan Chen, and he ran away. He did not sign on the Simla agreement because he had thought full Tibet Britishers are going to give it to China. Anyway, that did not happen. And finally, this is how. So finally, there is a very famous line got drawn between the India and Tibet called Sir McMahon line, that was drawn in the agreement of 1940 only. Means full demarcation of the Tibet happened. One line was drawn between Tibet and China. One line was drawn between Tibet and British India. That was called McMahon line. And then I believe one line would have been drawn between Tibet and Kasi Kasgar region. But anyway, naturally it is demarcated by Kunlun Mountain. Anyway, this treaty was finally broken by the Chinese in 1951 time frame. Okay, from the China side, Mr. Yuan Chen, he was representing ROC, Republic of China, that was the army rule that started happening in China post Qing dynasty 1911. 1911, Qing dynasty was over and it was succeeded by ROC, Republic of China, that is now in government in Taiwan. In 1948 time frame, ROC was over and PRC came into the communist government came into the China, People's Republic of China. In 1951, People's Republic of China, it did not kind of from the 1947 only, heat started in the Tibet at that time only. And Britishers, they tried to help Tibet at that time. They sent 5,000 guns and other artillery. But 1951 time there was no Britisher. Jawaharlal Nehru was there in 1951 time, and he did not do or he did not have to do anything with the Tibet. Tibet became an unclaimed region after 1947 because Congress was busy in something else. LPD cylinder and this cylinder and that cylinder, and then this income tax and that income tax. Okay, they were busy in something else. Chinese Army People's Republic of China, they never had courage to do anything in Tibet since 1914 till 1951 or 1947 till Britishers were there. They did not have courage to enter into Tibet. When Britishers left, means that region was completely empty. 1951, China pushed its its liberation army, People's PLA, People's Liberation Army, and 1959 they occupied Tibet. By that time, India was not knowing that China is occupying Tibet. I believe the way India reacted, it looked like India had nothing to do with the Tibet. Right now, also, India has nothing to do with the Tibet. In Indian book, I have personally read when I was a kid, small, that Himalaya is the north of India and Himalaya protect us from the enemies. They have always come from the north side. I have never seen in history any enemy of India that came from the northern side of the greater Himalaya. Some Chinese scholars had came, like Huan Sang and other, they had come to India to to write about the India. No military or no invader came from the northern side of Himalaya. This is what these people, Congress people, they made people read so that you don't think about Tibet at all. Okay, anyway, we will proceed in the Simla agreement and we will see 45 and 72 Simla agreement.